Hey boys, before this video starts, I'd like to tell you that this format of video is new to me and I'd appreciate the feedback. I like this type of format, it's less time to make it, and I had fun doing it. Anyways, enough yapping for me, enjoy the video. Kal'tsit boys! So Kal'tsit's event starts off somewhere in Sargon, and keep in mind this is in present day. And it all starts with a mission to investigate a raid on Rhodes Island's cargo. And the guys that were sent to investigate this issue is Theresa and Heavy Rain. And in case you don't know, these guys are playable. Okay? So they went to Sargon just to investigate an issue with the Rhodes Island's cargo because it's been raided by someone by the name of Sand Soldier. Who's that Sand Soldier? Well, you'll get to meet him very soon. Okay. Good morning. That is Passenger. Oh. When I first saw Passenger, I thought he was a woman. Then I pulled him, then I heard his beautiful, beautiful voice.
Doctor.
Well, in case if you haven't catch on, Passenger is the Sand Soldier. From here, we learned the reason why Passenger raided and captured the operators transporting the Rhodes Island's cargo. This is because he wants the attention of Rhodes Islands after he killed a local lord Amir for vengeance. Well, we get to know the reason why he did that. But for now, know that the reason he did this is because his goal is to fulfill a prophecy made some years ago. And the prophecy is simply to return a golden coin that he has been keeping for a long time to Kal'tsit. Wow, a golden coin. Imagine that. So Passenger, a little bit of a backstory. He's from Colombia, he's a Liberi, a human with bird features, and his real name is Elliot Glover. Going back to when Passenger was 16 years old, he was part of a scientific group called the Sand Soldiers, along with his professor, Thorn. I almost said Throne.
Pampakapam.
The relationship of Passenger and Professor Thorn is basically a master and a student, so Passenger deeply respects the guy. So they were tasked with researching relics of an Originium weapon capable of turning Sargon into a total wasteland. So essentially, a nuke. It's a nuke, guys. While these guys are in Sargon, they were attacked by the Padishah because they wanted the weapon for themselves. Everyone died, including his professor. Now, as the attackers were about to kill Elliot, he was saved by none other than our favorite feline character, Kal'tsit. Why are they after the Sand Soldiers? Am I safe? Teacher, come on, wake up. Target found. Have mercy on thy child. Don't try and fool me, you worthless. Huh? Is this the Sand Soldier's leader's body? What are you? Wait, do you have it on you? Don't touch it. Who do you think you are? Piss off. Don't blame me, kid. This is my job. Monster. I always wonder why that's a number 3. The monster skewers the ruffian. Okay. Lightly unfolds its body like a stretching in the morning. Damn, it's Kal'tsit. I remember. Now, I remember I saw your face before. Somewhere long ago. Teacher introduced you to me. I thought you were only a theoretical researcher. I remember. Your name is... Kal'tsit? Nice! Why can't we have a skin like that? You look good. You have quite a good memory, Elliot. After that brief exchange, the two set out to find a way out of Sargon, leaving behind Elliot's teacher. As Kal'tsit reminds them there's no time for mourning. Well, Kal'tsit did pay them respects in ancient tongue, so... But then again, given the situation they were in, yeah, there was no time for that. So they had no choice but to leave. After some time, along with some other mercenaries, which by the way, forgot to mention, those mercenaries, they came with Kal'tsit. They tried to escape, and the mercenaries were trying to kill Kal'tsit, but Kal'tsit stopped them. And then after they separate their own ways, they ended up being killed by the Sarkas mercenaries that were also after them. Advisors hit the road. What now? Here's the map for the route the advisor gave us. Not just the names of all the towns, but any messenger stations we can use too. Can you guess how much this map is worth alone? We'll head to the closest city on foot. Should be about 30 kilometers. Then we'll rent a new ride and get out of here. Man, people at Terra are built different, huh? Straight up walk into the desert for 30 kilometers. But we're still okay. Who's there? Oh boy, GG. So you let the sand soldier go. Now there's a twist. Leave 3 alive, the casters ready to grill them. So in the end, they were never gonna get out. So yeah, that's a tragic story. So moving on from that, they arrive at a black market in Reef Steep where they meet Isin. This character is a third person speaking character. I think this is the first character that I meet that talks in this way. Satisfied hisses. Uh-oh. Old Isin can tell. The two of you depend on one another. Old Isin can tell it is your partner. The two of you have traveled a long, long journey together. Old Isin can feel that. You have complete trust in this creature, as though it is your one and only friend. Lady, is this the glory of yours replete with nothing but loneliness? Loneliness doesn't affect my responsibilities in any way. Yeah. Isin has amnesia, much like the doctor. And this guy is a fortune teller. And this guy is also a ancient lizard race called the Savra. So, meaning this guy is very, very old. But not as old as Kal'tsit, I imagine. So, they went for help. Isin agrees to help and gives Kal'tsit a gold coin, which, by the way, she must give back after 22 years. I don't understand how fortune telling works, by the way. Well, in the meantime, he asks Kal'tsit's help in recovering his lost memories. Kal'tsit knows a lot about the city that Isin lives in. After the two exchange words, Kal'tsit learns that the Padishah of Reef Steep is in fact a Knight's Mora. Much like our friend Narantuya in the past event. So, this Knight's Mora had trapped Isin in his illusory arts for hundreds of years. Man, it's crazy how arts can still stay in your system even after the caster is dead for more than 100 years, or 100 years probably. That's crazy. Well, upon realizing that, Isin breaks down and cries and recalls that he was nothing more than a foolish jester. His words, not mine. I guess that's the end of his story. As Elliot and Kal'tsit prepared to leave, Kal'tsit decided that the weapon was no longer of any use and left the choice of its fate to Elliot. However, Elliot was angered by what he saw as Kal'tsit, quote-unquote, forcing the decision onto him. In his frustration, he yielded the device without any regard to safety, which in turn led to his infection wound or apathy. But still, Elliot did not regret this decision, as this is his way of breaking free from his old self. So what? Do you hate the infected? Do you despise them? Ha! Well, perfect. I don't owe you anything anymore now. I'm infected myself. Oh, what? You don't know that? She has a crystal on her shoulder? It hurts. My head. Elliot Glover. You're now uninfected. This is the fate you chose for yourself. I have many ways to set you on your way. No, Perhaps this will help me break away from these shackles. Now I have nothing to do with my past. Kind of a weird way to break from your old self. After further discussion, the two parted ways. We learned that Kal'tsit's goal is to stop a war, so she traveled to Ursus while Elliot remained behind with Isin, determined to seek revenge for his fallen comrades. And that, my friends, is the end of Sargon. There's more, actually. So 5 years later in Ursus, Kal'tsit works as a town doctor in a remote village, where she meets Lilia, a former scientist. Lilia and her late husband once researched the sarcophagus. So the sarcophagus is basically where the doctor wakes up. And this sarcophagus is essentially a self-resurrecting machine. Well, if you remember the events from Babel, where the doctor lost his memories, He was put in the sarcophagus as he was severely injured. I think I remember that correctly. Now, both Lilia and Kal'tsit were once involved in its research, until at some point in the past, it was completely purged from existence by someone, at least according to Lilia, who believes that Grand Duke Vanya was responsible. We're gonna meet this guy later. So Lilia seeks Kal'tsit's help to assassinate Grand Duke Vanya for her fallen colleagues, her husband, and for the responsibility of orphaning her daughter Louisa, which, by the way, is an operator named Pheytun It. So, which is why when I first saw this character, I thought she was so familiar. So here's a picture of her and her mother. Although Kal'tsit agrees to help, she warns her that revenge is foolish. But, you know, Lilia insists. Fast forward in time, we're gonna see some very interesting stuff. I'm sure you guys, and I included, will like this very, very much. So we're still in the past. Oh! Okay, Kal'tsit is now a maid. Yep, that's right. She's a maid. And the treatment of felines in Ursus are not so very, very great. I've never thought that I would hear Kal'tsit say sir to someone. As their plan for the assassination unfolds, Lilia and Kal'tsit infiltrate the Pine Valley Retreat, the sanatorium where Vanya lives. Lilia disguises herself as a doctor while Kal'tsit serves as a maid. The plan is to gain the trust of the admins in the sanatorium by working for 2 weeks. Lilia will then infiltrate the Grand Duke's bedroom, inject a neurotoxin, and get out unnoticed. But with the arrival of Viscount Wheat, I think that's how you read it, they soon need to speed up their plan before he finds out what they're up to. Which, by the way, if you don't know who this guy is, he is the advisor to the Emperor of Ursus, which is basically a huge deal. As for the Emperor of Ursus, I've never seen this guy. Upon searching, there's little to no info for this guy. Maybe he's related to the Deathless Black Snake, the one who manipulated Tallulah. Man, screw that guy. As the two arrive at the Grand Duke's room, they were stopped by the guard, and only the servant, in this case Kal'tsit, is permitted to enter, while Lilia, the doctor, is on standby, which is a big mistake for the guard. So, GG to you, my brother. As Kal'tsit enters the room, she sees Vanya. Although the Grand Duke is aware of the reason behind Kal'tsit's visit, he welcomes her regardless. A bit about Vanya: he was a soldier and the leader of Ursus of the 4th Army, presumed to be the responsible for the Chernobog sarcophagus purge in the past. However, instead of being rewarded for his actions, he became a political victim. This man is old and completely blind, so which is why he greets Kal'tsit by touching her face. I wanted to touch her face too and squish it.
何をしている?
Vanya knows that if Kal'tsit doesn't kill him, Ursus would so. He welcomes her to grant him a painless death. He even buys her time, keeping his bodyguard away, allows her to inject the poison. Afterward, we get a beautiful scene where the two talk for a while, discussing the Duke's favorite plant, pine lilies, and his unnamed wife. And as his final moments approaches, he recalls his past as a soldier and praises his motherland. I guess this guy is a good soldier. Everything that he did is for Ursus. But in the end, Ursus doesn't even care. I mean, at one point, based on the wiki, it was almost murdered by a Emperor's blade. So it's like that the things that he did for Ursus didn't even matter. That's the thing that I'm getting here. And that sucks. It sucks being an Ursus, boys. That's it for the Ursus part of this event. Actually, there's one more part. The one where the conversation between Wheat and his quote-unquote old friend. Now, Wheat's old friend is utterly insane. In a deserving act of devotion, he cuts off his own finger and gives it to Wheat, asking him to bring it back to deity Hypergryph, where the heart is of Ursus is supposedly located. This is so that his flesh can become one with Ursus. Man, people in Ursus are crazy devoted to their motherland, huh? You know what? If I were to choose a place that I would live in Terra, Ursus would be the last place in the list. Okay? Maybe somewhere in Colombia would be nice because they have one of the advanced tech and science stuff because I'm into that. Although Iberia, I believe, is more advanced. But then again, you have to worry about those seaborns, which is not a fun time. I think Yan or Minos would be alright as well. Okay, so in the next part of this story, we move on to Victoria, a few years after the event transpired. Kal'tsit is now a Lateran cleric, and is also a butler, which I have to say, it looks pretty nice and clean on her. Though, for some other reason, I really like the maid outfit more. They should probably release that as a skin, to be honest. Kal'tsit was invited to a banquet hosted by a Victorian noble named Mr. Vincent, where Kal'tsit discusses some political matters and her travels with the other guests. As they talk, we meet another character named Heidi, or Heidi Thompson. If you played the main storyline or you've gone through almost most of it, you probably already met her, though in her adult form. Adult form? What? So Heidi snuck onto the party to take the place of her father's indisposed catastrophe messenger. It is revealed that the Thompson family are Kal'tsit's collaborators and informants, working to protect the political stability of Victoria. Under the guise of being motivated by romantic prospects, Heidi maneuvers some time alone with Kal'tsit and hands her a letter from someone in Castle. And it's someone that we dear, miss, and love. But before Kal'tsit can read the letter, she was interrupted by a black snowflakes, which is a sign of the arrival of a Ursus super soldiers who are made from shards of eldritch demons. Well, I guess there's demons in Arknights too. I know Diablo exists, but I think they're extinct. Show yourself. The will of Ursus drove you here. Your mind can already be taken by the demons, Royal Guard. So it is the Royal Guard. As the figure steps out into the light, the unilluminated darkness surrounding it begins to quiver. It is that guy. Yeah, they're called the Emperor's Blade. I can smell the fear in you, traitor. Wait, traitor? Now this guy is very dangerous, and they are called the Emperor's Blade. For context, each individual Emperor's Blade are said to be equal to a nation. Okay, that's crazy. And they go by names. So this one that is after Kal'tsit is called the Pursuer. There are also others according to wiki, like the Demon Blade and the Vagabond. Pretty cool titles, by the way. So these guys are very strong. So strong that when Kal'tsit fought them here, it was basically a tie. But I think Kal'tsit can beat one if she went very seriously. Well, in the first place, why was this guy after her? Well, it's because she killed Vanya, you know, the old man before. And not only that, she knows a lot of secrets in Ursus and was called a traitor by the Pursuer. So it seems Kal'tsit spent some time in Ursus, huh? So much so that she knows a lot. I think she knows more stuff than a royal guard, probably. Back to the story. The two fought and Kal'tsit tries to argue that killing her and Victoria will mean trouble for Ursus, but he basically says, nah bro. And then she further argues more, then bro didn't like that, so he fights her. And the result was, Kal'tsit was heavily injured but doesn't care as it is just a flesh wound. And people at Terra are really built different, huh? While the Pursuer's aspirator and mask was cut open by a monster, which if left untreated, the demon shard will destroy everything around him and effectively killing him. So I guess he has a mask. I'm imagining like Darth Vader's when he breathes as he walks, something like that. After that, he left and warns Kal'tsit that she knows too much and they would be watching. As we near the end, Kal'tsit promises Heidi that the two will meet again in the future, which in fact they did. At least from what I remember. Actually, I think it's also important to mention the letter that was given to Kal'tsit. So here we go. The letter states the event of the past month. During that time, General Theresa and the military commission ensured that other countries were unable to interfere with Kasdale's rise to prominence. There were also details such as construction materials being transferred without issue. There's not much good info there. And the rest comes from Theresa. Man, I really miss Theresa. Well, Theresa mentions that the Great Banshee's successor is a boy. Well, we already know that this is Logos. She complains about her brother pulling all-nighters and how he started to ignore her. She's worried that once other countries notice Kasdale's unification, they will be wiped off the map. She asks Kal'tsit to come back to Kasdale to help prepare for the future. Okay, and we have a last part of the message, which contains an interesting piece of information. The Pheytun Engineering Department, which is basically a mining company or mining department, has something to share about the ruins that match Kal'tsit's description. I have no idea what ruins Kal'tsit is referring to here. And as the last part of the letter, Theresa asks her one last thing. Does the name Rhodes Island mean anything to her? And after that, the story ends in the event. There's no info about that moving forward in that event. Now that I think about it, I have no idea where the Rhodes Island name came from, at least right now. Because before that name was adapted, it was named Babel, right? Babel, then Theresa died, then Kal'tsit, then Rhodes Island. I think it's in that order, huh? Well, okay, that's it for Victoria. We return to the modern day. Elliot, now a Rhodes Island operator named Passenger, finds his way back to Kal'tsit. He seeks her out to find a new purpose after fulfilling his revenge. We also learn that old Isin went on a journey to search for the fabled capital of Sargon after seeing Kal'tsit alongside the Knights Moran Padishah and his lost memories. Passenger questions Kal'tsit about her motivations and whether she intends to stay at Rhodes Island. She gives him an answer, but we never learn what it is. At least in this event. We meet Pheytun It, Lilia's daughter, and at the end of the event, Kal'tsit introduces Passenger to the commanding officer, the Doctor. And that's it for this event, a walk in the dust. I'm super late to this, but then again, I started the game like 2 years ago. Well, I love this event, and I really like Kal'tsit as a character. I think she is one of the most interesting ones in the game. Just because she's been around for probably for a very long time. She's just that old. Why do you feel like calling her old is wrong? But yeah, she knows a lot of stuff. I'm guessing that she knows a lot of stuff in other regions as well. And one thing I loved about Kal'tsit is that she always keeps her promise. I think one of the promises that she always does or fulfills is her promise to, I think it was Theresa, that she would protect Amiya and the Doctor. And she still does, even though she's really pissed at us for killing Theresa. But I think she'll understand the Doctor one day, hopefully. She is just that person. But as of the moment, she's really mad at us. Yeah, I guess that's it for the event. Kal'tsit's pretty cool. Kal'tsit is a kind person. In next video, I don't know what, maybe Zarya or Blaze. I was gonna do Blaze, but man, we know next to nothing about the Blaze. We literally know nothing. We don't even know how old she is. I've also seen some leaks about her character lore. In the Chinese version, was it? But I tend to avoid spoilers as much as possible. But as of the moment, we know next to nothing about her. Well, that's it for this video. Well, I already mentioned this, but maybe I'll do another Laterano event. Preferably the ones before the Federico event, because I really like that event. And maybe perhaps the Sui siblings, the dragon family. Maybe I'll do them next, but who knows? Or maybe I'll do a Wuthering Waves. I think Wuthering Waves is a good game as well. It looks really pretty. Yeah, that's it. See you in the next one. Peace. See you boys in the next one. Pretty good, eh? Bye, boys.